Brian. Yes, we are live. Welcome.
Whoa,
This is the Real and Raw show with Lynn Serrano, and you are.
I'm Brian. Happy to be
Uh,
here.
every Thursday I look forward to a show with Brian because he inspires me to be goofy. Well, I am goofy, but he just ignites it in me. He just yeah. Besides, look at the eye candy he is. Oh well. We'll be right back after this.
I worked on my lighting so I don't look ginger anymore.
No, you don't. I feel like he dyed his hair. I got me a new co-host. I don't know.
Yeah, I know
Oh,
hair color.
I can't wait when I see him in person. I'll be like, it's real. And I mean his hair.
Yeah, there's
Because
no
look
more
at,
myths going on about the color of my hair.
I have to change your profile or your picture up there too. Because look at that. You admit, right? That picture looks like you have little red hair there, right?
I don't know. I just maybe I'm in denial or something, but I think it looks okay. Hey, Theodora.
Hey, Theodora. I mentioned to Brian what our plan is here. So yeah, and he's all cool and jivey with it, and everybody's
Yeah,
like, "What you guys are talking about?" So we'll know what we're talking about here in a minute.
yeah.
So welcome everybody. I'm not sure if you saw the replay of last week, but we talked about customer experience, and it was a good conversation, huh, Brian?
It was. There's so many different layers to it. Everybody has a different understanding. Last week we talked about as a customer. So
Yes.
we're the buyer and we're being serviced by people. This week we're going to flip it. So we're entrepreneurs serving other people. So and this is something that we can say in life is always ongoing. We're always
Yes.
going to have experiences as mundane to, I don't know, ordering takeout to, going on vacation and everything there in between. But it's the lessons that you learn, but also though it makes no difference if you don't apply them.
Yeah, and and it's a double-edged sword when you are a customer and you're also an owner and have your own
Yep.
business, because you definitely you have to be one that has an open mind,
Right.
and also to look at it from both ways
Hmm.
and be like, and how would you handle that?
Right.
And so it really is a great thing to say that it's a fine line. It's a real
Hmm.
fine line. And you and I agree, it's always about ownership.
Right. Well,
And
it is impossible to create something that you don't believe in yourself. Number two, you're on a journey to create, right? Now, you're always going to be in motion. We're always going to be students, right? But the difference is are you mailing it in, or are you constantly, retooling the checklist? Are you constantly retooling how it may look, and none of this is going to be possible if you're unwilling to take risks, if you're unwilling to actually go for it without any agreement of anybody else, because this is not one of those things where you're going to, talk to mastermind friends or whatever, and if their agreement of it, it's something that you just do because of how you want to treat your customers.
it's funny because I do know people that actually been business owners and said, "Screw this. It
Yep.
sucks being a business owner
Yep.
sometimes." And that's the real and raw truth here. It sucks because as a business owner, you live and breathe that 24/7, even if you don't want to.
Right.
You got to have many hats, and yeah, you can hire people and stuff, but when you care about what business service or product you have, if you really care, you live, breathe, and sleep it because you care that much. At
Right.
least that's how I've always been as
Right.
being a business owner.
Yeah.
And even when I had people working for me, doing my business, it's like they don't do the service as good as I deliver, and it's always your name. It's always it always comes back to you. So again, it's one of those things where um, some people are smart. They shouldn't be in business because they don't give a shit about the customer.
Well, and
They give a
that
shit about doing their service, and that's it.
Well, and that kind of ties into my first point. I just jotted down some notes, because it's like, for me, it's all top of mind. But this CEX, as it's designated, customer experience, is something I've been studying for years. Okay. And when you have a background in psychology, it makes it that much more juicy, if you will, because
Juicy.
in such a way where there's just different, there's different ways of looking at it, but scenarios, like when somebody talks about how they were served, or, you know, anybody could tell a story, and there's some merit, there's some lesson that you can find out of it in terms of if you're on the right level or not. And so as a business owner, you have to look at, are you selling transactionally or transformatively? A transaction means you're just getting paid for it, you know, no loyalty. You may or may not get a reorder. They may or may not refer you to somebody. Everything that somebody that's fully committed to customer experience is transformational. They want to change the entire scope of their industry, one customer at a time, one believer at a time, one supporter at a time. Transformational. They want to be the standard in what they do, instead of just taking somebody's money, you know. And as a consumer this day and age, it's like, you know, as Jeffrey Gitomer said, customer satisfaction is worthless, customer loyalty is priceless. Is most people, when they go out, they're amazed if they get treated well.
Yeah.
Let alone somebody that's a loyal customer that always goes back.
Yeah. And isn't it funny and sad that somebody is like used to seeing stuff like that? It's like, yeah, you know, it's like, wait, they treated me. What did I do? You know, it's
Right.
like, you should feel like a VIP. And Teodora, if you can make it on here, feel free. I've kind of got this cough. And so I'm going to have to rely on you guys to talk more than I do, because talk. So
I think another piece too is integrity, you know. And if anybody that's listening has never done this before, I'm a firm believer in writing out why you serve your customers, or how you serve your customer statement, right? Mission statements, I'm not necessarily a firm believer in that, because in a corporate realm, most mission statements can't be recited by the people that created them, let alone right? There she is.
Hello there, beautiful people. I just love this subject so much, and I had to pop in. It's a beautiful day here in Denver. I'm outside. I hope you can hear me okay. Is this okay, Sam?
Yes.
Okay. Yep. I love this subject. I love it. Both from both sides of the spectrum, from both sides of being a customer and also being a business owner. And it's just so important. I had so many good experiences and so many bad experiences. And from the bad ones, you just have to learn, right? You just have to learn what not to do as a business owner. And from the good experiences, you can still learn, that was great. How did that make me feel? How amazing that was. And also let people know, business owners, let people that serve you know that they did so well. I think we many times forget how important that is. When we are business owners, we love knowing that we're doing the right thing for people, and they're happy and satisfied with our services, or however we made them feel. We need to do more of that when other people help us feel better.
And, you know, I just want to make a quick mention that Teodora, not only is she in the financial industry, but she's also a florist. And she's amazing. I mean, she deals with people that have had losses and, you know, weddings and all these different things. And so, you know, that's a very, very, you know, customer oriented, you know, industry as well as Brian's, you know, wedding stuff too. So
the one thing I would say to Teodora is the challenge. I don't like hearing the word satisfied, because that's everywhere. Anybody can find satisfactory anywhere, but it doesn't mean you're going to be the chosen person to go to for whatever they're looking for. So anybody that hears this, it's either loyal or nothing in my book.
Yeah.
Right. You either aspire to be loyal by everybody you serve, right? Everybody's a VIP, and there are no exceptions.
There's nothing more fulfilling than handing a bride her bouquet and see the tears in her eyes, that she's just so amazed at the work you did. And obviously that brings so much more business. So doing the right thing and being able to listen and really connect with your customer, with your client, with who you're serving, your industry, is very important. But yes, I agree. Loyalty is what brings you business, and that's how you're able to put food on the table, right?
I think that there's also a distinction between, like, in the transformational versus transactional, is that somebody that is fully cares about the customer experience, they don't know if they can help somebody. And what that goes to is the recipe. It goes back to starting every conversation from the very beginning, not assuming anything. I don't know if I can help you, right? And through the course of a conversation or some kind of engagement, you determine if you can or not. And I think when people start jumping the pieces and they just start seeing the dollars, I think that is when they're shooting themselves in the foot, so to speak, because they're missing steps to see the money, but then they may not like what they get in terms of review or no referrals or any of that. So it's a part of a recipe, but at the same time, if somebody's only about the money, okay, I get it. We all got bills to pay, but don't expect any referrals. Don't expect a long list of pipeline of people that want to work with you.
Well, it just go ahead, Theodore.
It takes a very strong person to say, I can do it.
Yep.
It takes a very strong business person who says, this is not something that I can fulfill. This order is way above what I can do. And so you recommend somebody or send, that person to anybody that but it does take a strong, tall person to say, I can do it, rather than do a half job done.
Yep.
And get the money because you want the money.
Yeah. Exactly.
And I think from looking at it from strictly wedding perspective is that, I don't know how it is for you, for Theodora, but it's like, okay, the availability of the date is a major thing. But then also, though, one of the things that a prospective customer never thinks about is, are we like-minded? Are we, do you want to do all the work to make your wedding personal? You know what I mean? Like, none of those things they never think about these things. And I get it because they've never got married before. But it's like the true understanding of, can I help you, is impossible without some kind of interaction. And it cannot be, in my opinion, it cannot be held behind, screens and all of that. You have to either be on a phone call or video call. It can't be email or text, just because you can't get a feel for somebody.
Yep. And I agree too, even in my lingerie business and stuff, when I bridals and bachelorettes, I'd always say, and I'd get referrals every time because everybody loved what I did and the integrity and the class and all that stuff. But I was honored by referrals, but I was also stern, going, look, if they get if they don't have class, or if they don't this or that, I didn't want the referral, because I wasn't going to be around people that all they're negative Nancy's, Sorry, all Nancy's out there. But, the bottom line I'm trying to say is that I always wanted to be that my record was good with the people that were open and receptive and, and not prudish or had class or whatever. But, it's a thing. So I would refer them to somebody else, but they don't do it as we're all different, all different experiences. But if you don't click at the beginning, I did shows and things with people they were judging me before I even opened my mouth. And, and I've been in those rooms, and by the time I was done talking, they all loved me and whatever. But, and the funny thing is they say, you know what? I didn't like you when I first saw you, or I didn't think I was going to feel comfortable, and things like that. And it's just like, I love when they feel that close to me to tell me what their first impression was. Mm-hmm. I love it, because I know that comes from a genuine place. But again, it's the funny thing, because it's like, there are those people that when they make the judgment, they won't change the judgment. You could do everything in your power, and it's still not going to be right.
Yeah. How I've been trained over the years is that if it doesn't start well, it's not going to end well.
Yeah.
But obviously a lot of people will see the dollars. So the transactional side, and they're going to be like, well, I'm just going to set that aside because I'm drifted to this customer because of money, not because I can necessarily serve them the best. And in my opinion, that's the wrong way to do it. Now, obviously, being 30 years in my industry, that's a little bit different than somebody that's just getting started and needs the clientele. Right. They need the word of mouth. They need the Rolodex of customers to establish themselves.
Yeah. So I love the fact that we are talking about from, owner's perspective is, you really have to be an open mind though, too. And I know we're human too. We're a customer, so we can judge the customer, and you've got to really put yourself out there and say, look, I got to see this person with no judgments. And that's also a nice thing that happens when you can honestly say, wow, I'm glad I listened, and I'm glad I got to know them, because we too have a tendency of judging, and that's not a good thing.
And I think too is integrity. doing what you say you're going to do, when you're going to do it, how you're going to do it is something that's
Absolutely.
fundamental to everything that you might do for a customer. There are no exceptions, you
Mhm.
know, because if they're connecting with you on something entirely different, first of all, they have to be willing to take a risk, because there's so many professionals out there, good, bad, or other, that will just do transactions. They'll take your money, they'll go through their normal shtick or their normal gimmicks or whatever they do, and the customer is going to know what they're going to get. But if somebody that is fully committed to doing a transformational type of experience, the customer is guided by how they feel. They're guided by how they feel. Now, they might not know what their wedding's going to look like, but their feelings are gravitating towards it, that it's going to be 100% personal. It's not going to be something that is going to be cookie cutter or seen every weekend. And
Absolutely.
integrity has to be guided by that.
It's also very important, the attitude that we have towards our clients, our customers, because nobody would want to do business with somebody that shows up crying, like upset or mad, frustrated, and just, putting all their anger on everybody. This is something that is so, every time I go back to Romania to visit my family, I see the unhappiness in people, weighting them down so low, and it's pushing them, and it just reflects on everything they do. Everybody all the time is in the run, and they don't, not only do they not pay attention to you, but if they do, it's because they know that you need that, and you're there because in retail, for example, in you need to buy the stuff they're selling, and so it doesn't matter what kind of attitude they have, you're going to buy it, and it's just so unattractive. And
But
for business owners, it can affect so much.
Theodora, I think for your flower business part, you gotta be the one that tells people, hey, stop and smell these roses.
Yes.
Clever. I've never heard that before.
I should go to every consultation I have with a bunch of flowers and be like, here, those are for you.
There you go.
Yes, that would be
wear
great.
many
But
hats.
you guys, it's such an honor to jump in with you, but unfortunately I have to leave. I can stay much longer. I just wanted to tell you how much I appreciate you and I love your show, and jump in and give you a little Romanian accent in here.
I love you, Theodora. Thank
Yeah.
you for stopping by. We
Blessed to have
appreciate
you here.
Love you. Thank you. Isn't that awesome when some of our friends
It's
stop
cool.
by? We
Yep.
just love that, don't we?
Yeah, it's fun, but it's also a connection where no matter our industry and no matter how many years we've been in it, it's like a Swiss Army knife. It's universal, but it's also a journey, just like personal development. It doesn't matter how long it's been in existence, ever since these leaders have shared this stuff, is that it just never goes away. Right. It's just, what rung of the ladder do you want to obtain or move to?
Right. And and I love the fact that we put Theodora in the mix, because again, it goes to show you that we know, as humans, we connect for just being humans, and that's so important. And that's what people don't, they forget what the outcome is going to be for the purpose. Right. Just be a good human and things flow right.
I mean, just look at people that are in the insurance business or anything where there's like renewals, or, people like pay every month, right?
Yeah.
It's like every time that somebody's that money goes out of their account, they're giving a report card as far as how you're doing, right? Yeah. And it just makes absolutely no sense to me about how you would not want to enrich those people's lives that you serve on a regular basis, right? Yeah. From a value perspective, from an experience perspective, that you're the only person, and then it's always a reactive thing where, well, tell me what I can do better. And it's like, I shouldn't have to ask you that after I'm ready to leave. Yeah, you should be doing that before.
Yeah.
It's called customer experience. I'm in the experience as your customer. Don't make me a non-customer.
Yeah. And as far as experience with podcasts and co-hosts, and you being my number one guy, I mean, first guy, I just got to say that this is what I love about you. You're just, you love sharing the stage with other people. You're giving, you're caring, you love other people's perspectives. And I can't thank you enough for that. I mean, I love that you go the flow with whatever I throw at you, what we don't prepare. I just want to thank you, because you just are a great partner that way. I wouldn't trade that experience for nothing. And this is, you know, some people may not know. I mean, we've had our hard times, we've had our hardcore times and stuff, but we care about our show, we care about people, and we care about your experience with us. And that's what's great, you know. I mean, is when you have that camaraderie. And when we first talked, it was like, okay, I don't know what Lynn wants, and I was like, I didn't know, I just wanted to get to know him. And you know, and it was just, it's just like I said, we both took the chance just to get to talk. And it's been a great journey, and something I cherish a lot. And again, that's a customer experience. That's things we planted something over a year and a half ago, that when it flips on the head and everybody realizes what we've done, and they realize that we're just not the new kids in town here. I'm excited about that. I'm excited because you got to reverse engineer things.
Well, and I think speaking of reverse engineer, is that we're all at a place that we don't know what we don't know.
Yeah.
Right. And so from as being a customer, a seller, we all don't know what we don't know about what the journey can be. Right. But if we're unwilling to invade and to look at what it can be, well, then we're going to be like everybody else. And that doesn't bode well for anybody that's trying to set the standard, that's trying to become something more, that's trying to be distinctive and differentiate themselves. Yeah. And anybody that's really working hard on something to be the standard, they're willing to confront who they are right now and where they want to be. You know, but we all don't know what we don't know. We're all beginners in training, you know, because every day is anew. And I'm a firm believer in this, is that customers should be challenged for the outcome they want, right? Like, otherwise, if they just wanted anybody, you know, to take care of whatever solution they're looking for, they would just hire anybody. But why do people look for certain professionals that can do a certain proficiency level of something? Is because they like the way that they do it, how they do it. But
oh, Brian, Brian's, he's stuck. Look at that. He's stuck. At least he wasn't making an ugly face. He popped out. He'll be back in before we close. But again, that's, you know, I really appreciate the fact that Brian is always willing to just do whatever it takes. And I want to thank Theodora for being on the show. And I hope he pops out. Or pops back in. There he is. There he kind of is. So, see, we experienced.
Just keep talking, Lynn. Just keep talking.
Okay. So, well, at least you're listening while I say, you know, I do love the variety that we have brought in our show. And, you know, like, you were willing to take a chance when we had Christopher Ross. I said, hey, I just finished interviewing him. Bring him over here. It's like, okay, you know, you really know how to improv and be part of any experience with me. And that's what I love about you, your diversity, to just be willing to go with the flow. And you have proven that. I just love that. And I can't say that enough, because you make this experience for me love it. You have been a big part of that. And I, you know, I just love the people I do shows with. I'm just simply honored. That's all I can say. So,
we've had a great diversity of different topics. We involve people. We are nothing without all of you that watch this, and we just have a chemistry. We have a style with our backgrounds in theater, performing arts, and just being in the moment. And you know, we talk about whatever's hard or whatever's there, but also the things that you can use. It's not just, okay, I need something to listen to on a drive somewhere. You know, if we plant a seed about how you look at business, how you serve your customers, nothing more than, there's nothing more to warm our hearts more than, it's like, okay, I can tweak this, I can do this differently. You know, and if it makes you more money, great. But if it makes you feel better, that's the biggest thing. But that'll last forever if you continue to work at it.
And that's why I love the title of our show, Real and Raw, because like right now you're still a little bit on the slower version. But again, I just love that we have all these different diversity and topics and the things that we do to flow. And if anything, that should show other people that, you know, we, at our own expense, we'll be silly and goofy and we'll try it. We'll at least try it once. Right, Brian?
Yeah, but also though we cut right to it. Like our
Yeah.
styles are not to be fluffy and airy and have 5 minutes of information that really doesn't matter to you. We want to give, we value your time just like we hope people value our time.
Yeah.
And we want to get right into a message, like something that's we'll go hard and talk for 10, 15, 20 minutes on a topic, but it's going to be filled with meat. It's going to
Yep.
be filled with stuff because everybody's going to tune out. We tune out of things that if there's not something for us right away. So
Yeah.
to
So
present that to you guys as well.
so I'm just grateful that we don't always just looking for new viewers. We appreciate the new viewers, but we definitely love our faithful followers that have been with us. And
Mhm.
we're so honored by that as well. And I think that's one sad thing about the customer owners that don't forget who was there at the beginning with you.
Right.
And it's a sad commentary when they're ones paying higher prices than the new people.
Yep.
That's a pet peeve of mine, or that they're not getting perks for being a part of your tribe.
Right.
And
Well, and one of the things I've lived with my whole life, anybody that's on this that knows me is, and I've said it before and I'll say it again, I never forget where I came from. I
yeah,
never forget for the people that gave me opportunities when I was 11 years old to be an entrepreneur and to host events and to be a part of events, all the way down to the people where I might see them today and they may not recognize me, but I'm going to thank them because every single person I've ever met, whether it be directly or indirectly, best friends or not, they've influenced my life and made me who I am. And I need to thank them because
yeah.
that's what you need to do.
And I think it's important to end with saying the customer experience. You should enjoy every experience in your life and always find the silver lining, the best part of whatever experience.
Mhm.
Yeah, you'll find negative, but you can always find positive.
Right.
Always. I mean, you can always find, you know. So,
Yeah. We're,
uh,
like given what we have going on in the world today, and I'm not going to get into that, but it's a brand new book that just came out from Jeb Blunt, Selling in a Crisis. And it's like what he talks about is like whenever, no matter if a crisis is big or small, you can always look for the opportunity. The opportunity is always there. It's just a matter if you're willing to see it or not.
yep. And again, with a great heart and being mindful, I think everything and anything is possible, especially, when people get to know you and
Well,
again, Brian, go
and
ahead.
you may, and you, I just want to add this is that you make the engagement of getting to know somebody a priority because if you don't know them, you don't know how you can serve them.
Right. Yeah, yeah. I love things being organic and, not pushy or not, so inquisitive. And so Ricky says, I'm here for you guys. And I like the
Oh,
show.
thanks,
Thank
Ricky.
you, Ricky.
Thank
We
you.
appreciate you very much. So, again, it's just an honor and a pleasure to do this. And when I'm surrounded by some amazing people that podcast with me, and then Scott Schilling called me the other day. He says, Lynn, you're the purple unicorn in podcasting and live streaming. I'm like,
The
I am.
purple unicorn.
Yeah, he goes, Lynn, you do things that other people don't. I'm like, well, then I'm doing what I'm doing. I'm being me.
You.
We're
It's
being
you.
real. And so, and we do stand out for that because there's, we didn't do the cookie cutter way of doing shows. And
Yeah.
that's what I love.
If we did that, it'd be 100% fake and inauthentic to who we are as people,
And
just like how we serve our customers.
guess what? Boring.
Boring.
Boring. We don't do boring around here.
Nope.
No. Well, Brian, I love you.
Love you too.
And I'm just the honor. And I just felt on a customer appreciation day experience, I just needed to bring the experience with you is one I cherish and I love.
Likewise.
Okay. Everyone, you have a great day. Tomorrow's what?
Friday. Have a great weekend, everyone. Thank you for being loyal viewers, and we'll be back next week.
Okay. See ya. Bye.